Apliquick tools can be really handy on small little curves and sharp tiny pieces. So we're winding out our glue stick and running it around the edge of the paper, taking our Apliquick tools and with the fork to hold and the flat bevel, I'm just pulling it over onto that glue. The straight edge is pretty simple. And then when we get to the curve, we are just gently, a bit at a time, pulling it around onto the glue. The glue dries out a little bit, particularly because I've got lights on here. Just add a bit more, but we're gently pulling that around bit by bit so we're getting no points on our curve. And then we get to the flat and it can be quicker again. And there's our beautiful curved shape with no points on it. I'm going to try that on another one. So I'm going to glue some of it, pull over onto that glue. Get to the curve and it's just a small amount at a time and pulling it till it hits the paper, and the paper will stop it. It's strong enough just to stop it, but just a tiny bit at a time so there's no points. Some more glue. If it was even finer, you could swap your tool to the other end where you've got just this sharp point, and you can use that to pull in tiny bits around a curve so there are absolutely no points and you've got a perfect curve there. I think we have a circle somewhere. No, I'll find my circle later. Let's do a leaf. So I'm going along one edge first. And all the way to the edge. Now I'm going to glue from the edge of the fabric all the way to the other edge of the fabric. So I've glued all the way to the edge here on top of that fabric that's turned over to the edge of the paper, all the way to this edge here. And I'm going to start by folding on the fold so that I've got a nice double folded tip here. I've done one clip here on the inner curve, but not all the way to the paper. I've stopped a thread short so I can pull that over, and there's no red thread, no raw thread there. Just the couple of threads I've left have pulled over onto the glue. We get to this end, and remember we don't want that to flare out and have a raw edge, so this is where we need to fold on the fold, so 2 layers of fabric so that we've got a double folded point there and no raw thread, and you'll have your little tail sticking out there. So that's doing it with the Apliquick tools if you struggle with fumbly thumbs. However, having said that, I can just do it with my thumbs, and I'll show you once more. So we're folding till we fill the edge and pushing onto that glue. Straight edge is fine, get to the curve. We want a little bit of a thumbnail, excuse my non-manicured fingernails here, and then I'm just pinching and gathering. So a tiny pinch and gather and pushing onto that glue around the curve. And it doesn't matter if the fabric is not glued down flat here. All these gathers can be just loose because they're going to be on the underside of your fabric. What matters is that we've got a smooth curve and not a spiky curve. Let me try and show you what I mean by a spiky curve. So I'm going to use my whole thumb as I push the straight side, and when we get to here, instead of pinching and gathering, if you just keep using your thumb and do big box pleats like that, you've got points, okay? Points on the outside edge. So that's what I call box pleats if you think of curtains, as opposed to pinch and gather. So you get to the curve, switch to your nail, and just do little pinches around the curve. So you've gotten rid of those points and we have nice smooth curves, and that's how you get your perfect circles. Let's do one leaf with our thumb, and see here I've done a little snip into the inner curve, not all the way to the paper. I've stopped just before the paper. So I'm going to fold till I fill that edge. It's a nice gentle curve, so I can pretty much use the whole pad of my thumb. Now remember, over that fabric all the way to the edge down there, double fold at the point so I get a closed double folded point, and down here double fold so that I don't have that raw tip with my tail poking out. Last one. And that's all my pieces prepared. Okay, using our Apliquick tools to do a circle. This one's not too tiny, you can go much smaller than this. This one I would normally just do with my thumb, but I put my glue around my circle, holding it down, and then just pulling that seam allowance over the edge of the paper. The glue is not liking the camera lights, and pulling it in bit by bit, those little gathers around the paper. So you want a perfectly smooth edge, no little pointy lumps and bumps. If you get one, just flick it up and start again. Okay, the glue just really isn't sticking under these lights. So any little points, just work them in, but I'm taking my time, but you can do this quite quickly and get perfect circles. Well, as perfect as what your template was. This template was hand traced and hand cut, so it's not meant to be a perfect circle. It's an imperfect circle, as you can see on my design sheet. Okay, but there is your perfectly prepared applique circle.